Welcome, everyone, to our new episode of It's Gonna Be Okay. You can follow us again at Fun Therapy Podcast on Instagram, and It's Gonna Be Okay on our YouTube channel and Apple Podcasts now. Yes. My next guest I have today, his name is Jon Kondelik. I asked him, how do you pronounce his last name? And he said, Jon Kondelik, my ball. And oh my God. Okay. Yes. I know you, Jon, through a stand-up, obviously. You just recently did a mini kind of tour almost with Preacher Lawson and Ian Bagg. Correct? Yeah. So you opened up for them. That must have been amazing.
That was really cool. So the Preacher thing, we did a couple weekends together, and that was actually when I was celebrating my 1-year anniversary in comedy back in October.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're coming up on
1 year, and you're already on the road.
that was pure luck. And then I, not too long ago, I recently opened for Ian Bagg at the Ontario Improv. That was really, really
Hell
fun.
Yeah. That's cool, dude.
Yeah. And I'm going to be opening for Ahmed in San Luis Obispo in a couple weeks
I just recently saw him at another show. I know he's doing the Ice House. He's got an Ice House show.
Yeah, he's great. I just shot for him there, and it's fantastic. Whenever I'm not doing stand-up, I'm doing photos and video and stuff for comics.
Oh yeah, that's right. You actually work in like film production.
Yeah, I've been in film for like 13 years or something. Yeah, It's been a long time. I still am technically in it. I do that for a living. I edit movie trailers for a living during the day.
Yeah. I know. I remember when I was when I was roasting you, I had to send you those questions and ask you, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
And no, it's my roast jokes are just they're not bad, but they're not nice either.
Not as bad as mine. Mine were bad.
No, it's all right.
It was fun. I don't really remember too much. I was so in my head, like I wasn't even paying attention to your own jokes. I was just like in my head, like, okay, remember to go to this next,
Yeah. I did one about the your right to bear arms, and then I made a jab at your incident.
Yeah, the low hanging fruit.
Yes, very. I mean, it was a very well written joke. I thought. Okay,
it was solid. They liked it.
Yeah, and then I think the one that got them was like, this is what I remember when you said you made something about my mental illness.
It was about killing yourself.
Yes, and then I said, well, at least I know when to do it.
Yeah,
and then that was just like,
boom,
whoa.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
I was like, that was good.
So my mental illness wins again.
That was the lesson, was to be more present. I was too much in my head. I was too nervous.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I go through the same thing too. It's not, like for as many times as I've done it, I don't think it gets any easier.
Sure.
Because you're just like, okay, well, I don't want to go for the quick, easy ones. I want to actually write ones that are like custom to, your background.
Sure.
It's so easy for people, because a lot of people, when they do roasts about me, they're like, oh, you look like Tuesday Addams. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Okay. I'm not even goth. I don't even know where people get this from.
I can't imagine where they would get
Yeah,
this
exactly.
from.
I mean, goths don't have these guys, they also, don't have imaginary voices in their head. At least I hope not.
You're definitely more Wednesday Addams' friend. What's the girl's name on the show? The colorful one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I feel like if people actually did go into my room, they'd be very surprised at how colorful it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what? Can I ask you a question then? Why doesn't there's a lot of color? You don't do a lot of color on you.
I have that question a lot, and it comes down to me making less decisions.
Okay.
So it's like easier for me to function.
Sure.
And it just makes things simple.
It's just quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then because one time, I think this is trauma related, like laundry trauma related.
Mm-hmm.
One time I washed a red shirt with somebody else's clothes, and I fucked their clothes up. And so ever since then, I was just like, I'm never doing that. I'm just gonna go for the solid.
But was that traumatizing?
Yeah.
Though?
Well, I mean, you don't know my mom.
Oh, okay. So that's who the someone was. Wait, was it her clothes or was it someone else's?
Well,
her boyfriend or something?
It was her clothes.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, no, wait, what are you talking about? My mom doesn't have a boyfriend. She's got a dad. We have a dad. We all live together. Yeah, no.
Sorry, Terry.
Terry.
I don't know what his name is.
His name is Andy. No.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's my dad's name.
That's my dad's name too, Andy.
Shut up. Okay, we have so much in common already. I knew it. I knew we were gonna be friends forever. So yeah.
It's the same fucking guy.
I know. It's the same guy. It's see, my dad had two. This is why I look white, because I don't know how your mom's uterus got into my mom's, but
does he look like a famous celebrity? Like
my dad?
Actor?
No, my dad looks Middle Eastern.
That's funny. My dad served in the Middle East, so.
No, I don't know how he's Mexican and looks Middle Eastern. That's just something that happens.
That's a thing. Yeah. That's a common.
Yeah, it's a common thing. Yeah.
Because you don't look Mexican.
No, I know that.
I don't know what you look like, but it's not Mexican.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot. I don't know what I look like either. I think that's where the identity crisis started, was out of the womb.
Yeah,
they were like,
I think it's just in the category of exotic, whatever that is.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like diet white. That's.
I guess. Maybe like some kind of like Mediterranean or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I am pretty mixed. I mean, we never took a 23andMe until like.
Oh, you should.
Well, I mean, you heard why I don't take. Okay, so it goes back to like some weird.
She doesn't spit.
That's essentially. I don't spit either. I just swallow. Yes, John, I swallow. That's.
This is supposed to be about mental health.
It is.
And we're not even talking about.
I mean, we'll get into it. We'll get into it, John. Jesus Christ! All right, look.
That's the clip. Clip that.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, God.
I will. I'm gonna. All right.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. No. Was it that bad or?
That was funny. No, it just
okay.
started to get lightheaded. That was so fucking funny.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome.
You're doing great.
I'm
We're
glad.
doing great. This is the best podcast so far.
Okay.
Episode 7. This is episode 7.
Yes.
Or fucking
episode 7.
Lucky number 7. You heard it here
episode
first.
7. Episode 7. Yes.
I love it.
And I'm already talking
Brought
about.
to you by sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah, I know. I'm already talking about swallowing, and I just okay. Anyway, yes. It's not because I don't spit.
I gotta adjust now.
Oh my God! It's not.
That's terrible. It's bad.
It's not. It's okay. Let me get into this. All right.
Okay,
all right.
I'll let you
Okay.
do your job.
Okay.
Do your
So
job.
it's not because.
You're doing great.
All right. It's not because it's some weird thing with my family. We waited until our grandparents were dead because one of them was involved in some crazy.
Waiting until they were dead to do what?
To do a 23andMe.
Oh, why again?
Because one of my relatives is involved in some sort of criminal activity, so we waited until they were dead to actually do a 23andMe.
Oh, you didn't want to find out like they're a serial killer or something?
Well,
like
we
the guy
did. Well, no, we knew already. We just didn't want it.
Oh, you knew they were a serial killer?
Right. We just didn't want it to come back to our family. So you know how like they find criminals, like family members who committed. Right. So we wanted to make sure that they were dead so they wouldn't come back after us and then they get caught kind of deal. Yeah. Yeah, so we had to make sure that they died.
So what'd they do? Now that they're dead?
I can't tell you. Yeah,
We're here about
No, I mean afterwards.
Okay, is there a category? Oh yeah, afterwards. That's totally.
Yeah, I mean just.
Is there a category?
Organized crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Organized crime.
Cool.
Kind of deal.
And it's a Mexican organized crime? Was that like cartel related?
Well, I mean, he was Mexican, yes, but he worked in different categories of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I know. I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Subscribe to the Patreon, guys, and you'll find out.
I know, right? No, I don't have
episode.
a Patreon, but okay, so I feel like because my grandfather used to do that kind of stuff, I feel like that's also like just...
That trickled down to you or something?
Yeah, mental illness kind of like... His was unaddressed and he made a living doing that, honing in on his stoicism, I would say. His ability to like cut out of reality, you know.
It's so crazy how like that's always existed, but we never understood it.
Right,
and we've always like rational. I was just talking to my wife about this the other day, like specifically about like serial killers and things like that. Like everyone's like, oh, it just popped up in the 70s. Like, no, shit's been around for a long time.
No, of course.
And at least the theory or whatever is that we would come up with stories like we would make up stories about like werewolves and vampires, and that's where they came from, was basically to justify these horrific killings.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like
and it could have just been unaddressed, mental disorders.
Yeah. There's no way a person could have done this.
Yeah,
it had to have been whatever.
It had to be. He had to be possessed by a demon or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but meanwhile, it's just some guy named Greg who who doesn't like masturbating like with
in a
guys
closet.
Or something.
I don't know, something.
It's always some like repressed,
some weird, some sort of repressed emotion that they. Yeah. So I always thought that was strange too, and I thought, like, imagine if my grandfather had gone to therapy, but then I realized we probably wouldn't have been in this country because of that, You
think so?
Yeah, no,
you would have just like, it would just like
100%, because he was wanted here in the United States. Mm-hmm. And my grandma lived in Mexico, and she figured the only way to get away from him was to go to a country where he was wanted. Oh. So we ended up coming out here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I only knew him. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him longer than like 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah. But you're asking for a lot. That's a big ask. Like, that back then, therapy and stuff, that's not a thing.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a thing. I mean, he made a killing off of his living, Yes, He was technically an independent contractor, but I was like,
business
Grandpa,
is booming.
I don't know. Yeah, right.
Oh,
I
man.
was like, no. It's a really weird thing to talk about.
That is the most fascinating thing. You should write a book.
I know.
Can you just like change the names and like, and you know what I mean? Where they like change certain things to make it...
I could allude to it partially, but I remember growing up and like people looking for us.
Oh, wow.
Asking questions.
Shit. Now, even though he's dead, like you're still worried
No,
about it?
No, not anymore. I just don't want to talk about it because I know like my family's ashamed of that kind of shit.
Sure.
Like if I talk about it, they're like, don't talk about that. We don't want people to know that we have killers in our family. I was like, bro, for real? Yeah. I mean, yes, we do. Okay. I have cousins that have been killed in the street because they were gang members, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Wow. And yeah, it's like that's, yeah. So when people see me with the gloves and they're like, yeah, she's a killer, I'm like, it runs in my family.
Hey man, my dad, he was telling me that I think, was it his grandpa or his great grandpa? Whatever. One of those was a Nazi on one of his sides of the family. Yeah. And then the other side was not a Nazi or German or whatever. And I guess they fought in the same war against each other or something.
They were fighting in the trenches?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like so it was my dad's grandpa or great grandpa was in World War I, and then the other one was like, I guess that's different wars, isn't it? So he was World War I, the other one was a Nazi, but yeah, that guy was a douche, and obviously fucking hot take, Nazis they don't tip very well at the fucking Starbucks.
No, I bet not. I mean, they're probably like, we own everything.
No, most of them are in South America, and that's where like coffee's from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Colombia and shit. Yeah. So maybe they do tip well at Starbucks.
No, I think we are.
They fucking started Starbucks.
I think we're taking care of business as it is. Like they're infiltrating the. I mean, their whole thing, like the whole thing with white supremacy, was to what is it? Genomics. You know what I mean? Where
eugenics.
Eugenics exactly. Yeah. But I mean, genomics is where you're studying what eugenics does. It's like the studying of the human genome, essentially. Yeah. They were doing it in like a different way, like on a superficial level, not like, oh, we're in the lab kind of like taking apart things, not in that way where they're putting DNA in a blender and they're separating it, not that, but they were doing it in terms of like breeding. That's their level of eugenics. Yes. Yeah.
Do you think Hitler's still alive?
No.
No? Yeah, there's some people that think that the government has kept him alive and he's in South America, like and same thing like with bin Laden. There's like that all those conspiracy theories that a lot of those Nazis fled to South America and they just keep him on the payroll, and it's like, hey.
I mean, if he's still alive, good luck, Like,
crazy, right?
Okay, so that kind of gets me to this really weird, I don't know why I'm going into this tangent.
It's my fault. I take responsibility.
No, it's fine. We'll get into the mental health thing.
Talking about old Addie Hitler.
I think that talking about origin stories does play into mental health, Yeah, because I mean we're trying to figure out like how we inherited what it is that we got, even though I haven't spoken about anything that you got. I honestly don't think that anything's wrong with you.
Oh, there's a lot. I've told my wife the other day, I'm like, I really need to get therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that more people are acknowledging that, though.
And you know how I know that?
Yeah.
Drugs. Kids, do drugs. Because you will learn safely with your friends, people who care about you. But whenever I would do edibles, I would learn things about myself.
So you end up.
And
so
I have
after
these
you do
existential. Yeah.
So after you do the edible, do you go in the shower and cry?
I would never be that type of guy.
Oh, okay.
But instead, I would have these just profound experiences, and I would just be sort of thinking out loud with my friends, and I'd be like, oh my God, this makes sense. This explains everything about my childhood and why the way I am and all these things. And it just raised a lot of questions and things like that. And
so what was your most recent epiphany where you're like, oh, I need to get therapy? Like what trigger? I feel like it's always something really just bizarre.
It always starts with the parents, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. For me, it's my dad. Well, it's both. My mom has mental illness. She's bipolar and manic depressive and stuff like that. But for me, my big problem is my dad.
Yeah.
And he's always been my number one. My brother was teen mom. I love my mom, but you know what I mean? You favor certain parents based on your personality types, right?
Right.
So my dad was my personality type, and my brother was my mom's personality type, and that's where we were drawn to each other.
So because of that, did you ever have rifts with your dad?
Because I loved him. That sounds so weird, love him, but because I had that connection with him, I wanted to be around him, and my parents were separated when I was 2 or 3, and I think that's what really screwed me, and I didn't realize it until much later in life. And one of the epiphanies I had was every time I would leave my dad, I would get incredibly sad. I'd be bawling my eyes out, I'd be crying, to the point that my mom would turn the car around and go back so I can get a quick hug from him again and we can leave. I hated that feeling of losing him and stuff like that, and it just would break my heart, and I would cry myself to sleep a lot. And I think the epiphany was, the realization was, I hated feeling that way, so I sort of severed the emotions, because it's if I don't care about you, then I won't feel bad when you aren't around. Does that make sense? So I kind of...
It's basically to keep yourself from hurting even more.
Yeah. It's a weird defense mechanism. Yeah. And so even though I love my dad, and it's and he lives with me now, so it's making up for a lot of lost time and stuff, and it's fantastic. But I don't say I love you, which is weird. I'm trying to make an effort for my kids to be a good role model, but I'm not affectionate. I say we're not affectionate. That's not true. The thing I've been learning is it's me. I'm the problem. I'm not affectionate with my dad because of that reason. I don't want to get that close, because if I get that close, then I get attached, and then there's that risk of getting hurt.
I think.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's called an abandonment.
There you go.
It's not a disorder, but I mean it's a particular type of abandonment or attachment issue. I don't know to what extent. Does it trickle in? I know you just mentioned because you just had a newborn baby. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
I was
great.
very happy. I was keeping track of your stories, because I always love it when people have babies. I think it's the cutest thing.
Yeah. And it's a good thing. The great thing about having a baby boy is it's a nice reminder to my wife that my dick could be a lot smaller.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay.
Sorry.
No. I mean,
back to the serious business.
Yes, back to the serious business. Your attachment. So you see the way
She's laughing.
I know. So you see the way you basically the way you attach to your dad, like, and then you're conscientiously seeing how that's affecting you and your relationship with your kids. But what is it that you figuratively really want to change? And
the thing I want to change is I actually need to make an effort to have a relationship with my father.
Okay.
Because I've seen so many movies and stuff where you have these characters. Like, did you ever see like Warrior or something?
No.
Well, any movie where there's an estranged father and the kids are like adults now, and he's trying to make amends, and they're constantly like, you know what? No, fuck you. It's too late. That kind of thing. And you're like, give him a chance. He's changed and stuff like that. Like, that's how I feel. And I'm like, I'm those kids, and I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like, leave it in the past. Yeah. Like, my parents weren't bad parents. They just weren't right for each other, and they did the best they could. And hey, they didn't beat us. They didn't, my mom, whatever, spatulas and stuff, but that's not, it's not abuse. It's not abuse.
Spatulas is not like, abuse.
And
take it.
But they didn't neglect us. They didn't do anything bad, and they did the best they could. And I should just, it's all, I'm getting hung up on it, and it's just one of those things I just need to leave it in the past and just take what's going on now and try to change our future. And it's like, I want, it's so dumb. I want a relationship with him, but it's like my body and my brain is like, nah, it's so weird. Like, every time he's like, he'll be like, I love you, or give me a hug or something. I'm like, let's not. You know what I mean? And it's dumb, and I need to work on that.
But is it mostly because you're afraid? Obviously, you're afraid you're going to get too close, you're going to get attached, and then he's going to leave again, kind of the way you did when you were a kid.
Yeah, I think so, because it's not one of those things where it's surface level. It's deeper. Yeah. And that's where I've had to think on it a lot. Yeah. And it wasn't until recently. So first the edibles raised a question, and then it took me a lot of pondering, a lot of thinking, and then I realized, oh, I'm the problem. Yeah. And, it's just, it's tough. It's like, I feel like I'm weight training, and I have all this weight on me, and I just need to start unpacking it and just start doing reps and getting used to the idea. So like the other day I said I love you to my dad, and
how did that feel?
It felt good, but it also was like, like, you know what I mean?
Was it overwhelming? Like, did you have like tears? Like, or
no, it wasn't that. It was more like, I was walking out the door, and I was saying bye to everyone. And by the way, side note, I smother my kids with affection, because that's, whatever. I felt like I was deprived of that, but whatever. Maybe I wasn't deprived of it. Maybe I just didn't allow it. But so I was making the rounds, saying bye to everyone, kisses, all that stuff. And usually I'm like, Dad, see ya. But then this time I was like, all right. And I pat him on the shoulder, like, love you, Dad, kind of thing. And that's like, oh, big deal. Huge deal. Yeah. For me. And I'm sure, and my dad's not an emotional guy at all. He's not a words of affirmation. Your love languages, right? Yeah. So he's not a words of affirmation guy. I'm a words of affirmation guy. I do that all the time with my wife, and I'm touch, but I don't want my dad to touch me. But he's always been the non-emotional type. I've never confided in him in my life, about stuff. Never asked him for advice on stuff on an emotional level. But he's the acts of service and gifts type. So just out of nowhere, unprompted, he'll be like, "Oh, made you a sandwich, and here's an AR-15." And I'm like,
my God.
Oh, thanks, man.
He gave you a gun, bro?
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
A gun.
He gave you multiple guns?
He gives me multiple guns all the time. He's from Montana. Yeah, he makes guns.
He makes guns.
Well, not like from scrap or anything. Okay. It's like he orders kits and stuff.
Oh, okay. So he's one of those gun show guys then.
Yeah. He's that type. And, country boy. Yeah. And, but just unprompted, like, hey, I got you this, like, unsolicited thing. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? And
you're like, what am I going to do with this other gun?
Exactly. And, that's how he expresses his love. Like one time I showed up at the house, and there was a box of cigars there on my desk and a switchblade. And
hell yeah, that sounds like your dad is cool, dude.
He is a very nice guy, and he's outgoing to other people and stuff. He's really, really cool, and I love him. But it's just he has these quirks, right? but he's like, hey, it's cool. You know, those the cigars, they're Cuban.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking great Cubans, and the Switchblade is Puerto Rican.
Fuck yeah. Obviously, you know. I mean, if he ever brings you another one and you want to unload on nice Switchblade, I'm willing to take a new one. I love knives. My dad started me out giving me knives when I was 11, and I never got rid of that. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a quirk, but you know, kind of an inclination to collect them. So yeah. But I mean, I understand where you're going with that. Like, with certain, I think our dynamic with our parents, you know, it kind of like dictates a lot of the behaviors that we show towards other people. We don't see it until like we're super old, and then we're like getting aware of it. I think it's interesting that you bring that up because my mom's mother recently died. Well, she died last year.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Your grandma.
Yeah, my grandmother. Yeah, my mom's mom. She died last year in July. But I remember when it happened, because my mom kind of had the same, you know, issue, you know, like she wasn't very affectionate with her mother. They didn't, you know, they would only talk about things that like current events. And I guess, you know, because my grandma was just like a very like hardened woman, but I don't think she was hardened. I just think my mom was afraid to talk to her.
Sure.
You know, because I talked to my grandma. My grandma would talk to me about all kinds of shit.
I think that's the same.
You know what I mean?
Where you realize it's not them, it's actually,
Yeah. And then I was like, Mom, how come you never talk to your mom? And she's like, well, she doesn't want to talk to me. I said, that's not true. She's got a lot of things to impart upon. This woman lived almost 100 years. She can tell you everything that's happened in the past 100 years like a living history book.
Yeah. That's
you know
amazing.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And for her, like when she died, I can tell like my mom, like part of her, because she's always wanted to kind of have like a relationship with my grandma. Yeah. You know, but she just didn't know how to do it. She didn't know. And I was like, but you realize you had all that time. Yeah. You could have actively given it a chance.
And that's where I'm at, where I'm like, okay, I need to just, you know, make baby steps and just keep doing make some kind of effort, and eventually, you know, hopefully we'll be best buddies.
And I get what you're saying, because I am having that trouble with my mother, and she is not realizing it. Like, we'll get into fights and I'm like, Mom, why are we fighting? Mm-hmm. Why the hell are we fighting over this shit? Yeah. Like, and then I remember my sister and I, like maybe a few weeks ago, we were talking about this, and we were like, you know, that we're actually trying to make an effort to have a relationship with you, but you put your guard up so much, you know. And I think the thing is that she's afraid of repeating history with her mom, but she's not like actively aware of like, right now is the time you can work through it. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it requires you to be open and vulnerable, you know, to take that in. And yeah, it's going to be painful because it's something you're not used to.
Do you, about your mom, do you ever just like, whatever issue you're having, maybe she's being difficult or whatever, because it's probably just overwhelming for her. Yeah. Do you ever just you know, just sort of just stop, just hug her and be like, hey,
well,
you know,
I don't hug her because I know she's not that kind of person.
I know she's not that type, but it's one of those things where you ever meet people where they're like, I'm not a hugger, but on the inside they're like, I wish I was hugged. I think it's one of those, it's like, hey, you know, I love you, hug her, and it's just get her used to that feeling. It's sort of like, not training a dog, but kind of like in the sense, like, you know, like those dogs that are traumatized, it's like you need to hug them and be like, and remind them like, this is what love feels like. This is what love feels like, you know, that sort of thing. It's like, hey, I love you, you know? And there was someone I was watching, I saw some podcast, but they were talking about that you should call your parents every single day and they need to hear like a handful of things from you. And one of which was, you know, check in on them, and but more importantly, let them know I'm okay. Mm-hmm. Because that's all they care about, is they're worrying about you to make sure that, because you're always going to be their baby, right? So, hey, Mom, I'm okay. How you doing? Just wanted to touch base with you. You know, thanks for everything. No, be appreciative, all that stuff. You know, love them. Just hear them out, whatever they want to talk about. stuff like that.
I live with both of my parents. I still live with them.
But even if you live with them, but just to say those things, because I think they need to hear that every single day.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the group chat,
yeah.
We're in the group chat. She can scream down the stairs and ask us, "Hey, shut the fuck up. We can hear you." That kind of thing.
Bitch be getting my texts all the time.
Yeah, she's there. It's just it's just sometimes, I don't think she realizes.
I know you seen my posts. You ain't liking shit. Sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, that's true. Like my dad, when he sends me a message, my dad's the opposite of what my mom is.
Okay.
My dad will go to my room. He'll check in on me if I'm there. He'll say, "Hey, what's up?" And he actually listens to these podcasts. Like,
oh, great.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, huh?
Yeah, that's unusual.
For my dad.
My dad's like gay.
Yeah, no. He's like, "You're on a mental." No. My dad is very supportive. I think he was the breast that raised us.
My dad would rather join ISIS than fucking go to therapy and do any of this shit.
Yeah, no, my dad is very supportive. My mom, on the other hand, not so much. She's got a different kind of old school mentality, about things.
And that's the wiring. And that's one of those things that, just like my dad, it's the wiring. We got to work past that. But the other thing I learned was, it just kind of came out one time during dinner. And I was it was very unfair of me, but I was like sort of unloading on him and being like, "Hey man, like this is how you raised me, and you're not aware that this fucked me, right? This fucked me up." And I was sort of like trying to unpack things from him, like, about his childhood and stuff. And then he's like, "Oh, I had no idea." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what happened in your childhood? Blah, blah, blah." Then come to find out, well, that's how I was raised. Ooh. And also, but it's like, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Like this is all I knew. And to me, that wasn't a big deal. And I'm like, yeah, and he has the same thing that I have, where he was a middle child of like a handful of kids out on a farm, overlooked, right? Not paying attention to. And he sort of like, that broke his heart, and he sort of severed emotion. And he's like, "I just stopped feeling." And I'm like, Jesus. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, you would do parent the same way with us by not being super affectionate. But this is where it's unfair on my part, because in my head, to me, it's like, oh, they didn't do that. But he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? I said I love you all the time when we were kids." It's just one of those things where I didn't let him in. But the revelation there, though, was that he went through the same thing, and they don't know any better. So whatever's happening to you happened to your parent, to your mom, and it's one of those things where they're not actively doing it. They just don't. It's just tradition, right? It's just part of their DNA. It's just I don't know. That's how I just behave. Yeah,
I understand that too. But yeah, I like that you brought up the fact that you're like, "This is how you raised me," because I did that one time with my mom, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is how you raised me." Like the fact that
outside perspective, right?
The fact that I would argue back with her and not do what she wanted me to, she raised me like that.
Yeah.
She literally told me, "I don't want you to be a follower. I want you to be a leader. And that means you have to stand out." And I was like, "Bitch, this is who you made me. This is what it's become."
Sounds like your mom's a good mom. What the fuck are you bitching about?
I'm just
kidding.
But it was to the point to where it was very...
It's very
militant.
It's
very militant. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good word. Very militant. And I was like, why,
You look like a Jeopardy guest. That's who I figured out. That's what that's what it is. Sorry, it just hit me. Sorry. Fucking welcome back to three-time champion.
Alex Trebek. Okay, we're here. Trivia on abandonment issues for 500.
The asexual Jeopardy guest. Why am I just looking at my camera?
I don't know. You're just staring at yourself.
Sorry.
No, but I think that's funny. That's a good segue.
Okay, sorry.
No, I love that.
It's the defense mechanism whenever it gets too real.
Yeah, it gets too serious. You know, you got to break in with something.
Yeah. See, and what's funny is my brother thinks I'm like not emotional. Like I'm actually really emotional.
Oh no!
But like, he's more emotional on the outside. I'm more emotional on the inside. But yeah, It's
are you talking about introverted, extroverted?
yeah, I guess so. Like I'm an
Maybe.
introvert that wants to be an extrovert.
Yeah. Or
You
you're
know?
selectively extroverted.
Yes, that's like I have
Yeah,
extrovert tendencies, like the Hulk or something.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
fucking,
We're
I just
just
rip my
not,
clothes
we're
off
just
and just
not like the annoying extroverts that like have to announce, "Hey, I'm in the
Yeah.
room, bitch. We see you. Shut the fuck up."
exactly.
You know?
It's like, you know, they see us and they're like, "Oh, he must be autistic," but not really. You know, then you're just like, "No, I'm a crazy motherfucker
Yeah.
too." And,
I
you
like
know,
when people try to guess what my problem is, and I'm like, don't guess. I'll tell you exactly what it is. I
Yeah.
have a whole list. My doctor wrote it down. We're good.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we
yeah.
already know how
you
to
have
take
it
care.
tattooed on you like the guy from Memento.
Exactly. Yeah, I carry my medical record. You know, here's the good thing about like what is it? Medical records now, at least, or you know, my chart. You get to.
Oh, is that a person or
no? It's an app. My chart is an app.
Oh, my chart. I thought you said Mike chart.
No. My no. I'm okay.
You know
all
this
right,
cool guy
yeah.
named Mike Chart?
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
not Mike Chart.
Mike.
My Chart is an app that I guess like medical insurance companies get if they provide it for you, that you can like log in, kind of like Kaiser has their own app too, that you can log in, and they now have a lot of your medical record history available, you know. So I think that's kind of helpful, at least to me. It is.
For sure, everything's digital and
Yeah,
like kind of stored
yeah.
there. But yeah, that I'm glad you mentioned Kaiser. You know, we have like one of the best plans, and I was just telling my wife, I'm like, why? You know, we can get therapy through Kaiser, and I'm like, why the fuck aren't I taking advantage of this?
Yeah,
It's right
you
there,
should.
You know,
you should.
So,
You should, especially if it's there. I mean, granted, I know how Kaiser works. You kind of have to jump through hoops, and like, I feel like you have to get, you have to pass, like, let's say, like, you have to get some sort of like medical evaluation, some sort of psychiatric evaluation before you get psychiatric evaluation.
I think it's like you need to get a referral. Or something, but there was it is,
and it takes so fucking long.
I don't think it was that bad. We have family members that, that do therapy, but I don't think it was that bad.
For us, for me, it took forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For us, it was just one of those things where you just have to have the therapist just has to be approved or whatever.
Yeah,
and
no.
Most likely, it's going to be like an older person that's not out, you know, has been in the game a long time.
Yeah, no, it took me a long time, and then they expedited my referral when I got my first 5150. They're like, okay,
Oh, shit.
So yeah, there you go. You got
your first 5150.
my first.
Like how many are we talking here?
I've had 5.
Oh, well, that's what's up.
Yeah. I know. I think
my mom's had that too a couple times.
I like to
So
compare my 5150s to like free coffee. You know, the last one you get for free.
Yeah, it's complimentary.
Yes, it is. It's complimentary.
Jeez, my mom. Oh man, she had that was a fun dark time.
Oh
yeah,
no.
we've had a history of mental illness in the family
Yeah.
for sure. Like there's my mom and. You know, my sister went through a thing in her teenage years and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm surprised I'm not crazy. I probably am. I just don't go to the doctor and get diagnosed.
I wouldn't
with
go
anything.
as far as to say.
Well, not crazy.
Like,
Crazy is not the right word.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
I haven't been diagnosed with anything.
Yeah.
But
not yet,
know.
at least. Just wait till you get your doctor's gonna be like, hey, no, I don't know.
That's it. Yeah, it's partially why I don't want to go.
No, I mean that is the reason. That is the reason why I have this podcast.
Go
is
to the
because a
doctor.
lot of people are afraid to even. Sometimes in therapy, it's not even just to get diagnosed. Sometimes it's just to help you through a temporary situation or to help you learn how to cope with something. You know, I mean, if you specifically go to your doctor and say, hey, this is what I've been dealing with. And you know, you talk about the relationship you have with your dad and how you don't want that to trickle into the relationship you have with your kids.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be a different kind of way to address it.
Sure.
And they're not going to give you drugs because that's not what you're there for. You know.
Yeah,
what
and
I mean?
I wouldn't want to see a psychiatrist. I would want to see a psychologist.
Yeah, you'd
right?
see a therapist. Yeah. It would be different. You know, it would be.
I did have a therapist when I got out of the hospital after my hand accident.
Okay. So tell me. I know from an article that I read.
Oh, there was an article.
Yes, there was an article.
Was it the CNN?
You did a different. Yes, you did another interview. You did a different interview. I read partially about what your the reason why, and then from things that you told me when I did the roast battle with you.
Sure.
I mean, you can tell your story, so
I don't know how much time we have, but yeah, I'll give you the quick.
Plenty of time.
Okay, I'll give you the quick. Just so back in 2011, I was acting in a short film, and it was a student film for a specific college out here in LA, and I was playing a guy who was supposed to get his fingers cut off in the movie. And so I was supposed to see a makeup artist. We were going to make a mold of my hand, which is just like an imprint, like, you would make in school or whatever, right? And that's typically used with like silicone or plaster. Instead, they skipped a step. Instead of doing that and making the mold of, using that material, they used a type of material that's kind of like cement, but it's called UltraCal 30. And it's used in, special effects.
Okay, I think we need to keep track of what it is he used so we don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, you won't. It's not like sold in normal stores. It's like makeup stores that, not like Sephora or anything.
Yeah, it's a different special effects. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So after you have that imprint, then you would fill it in with the cement, right?
Right.
And then you pull off the silicone or plaster, and it's like, hey, you got a cement hand. But so instead, they skipped a step and they put my hand in the cement. You know what I mean? And so it got stuck in there and it cured and it got really, really hot and it burned my hand. And I got 4th degree burns. Skin was hanging off my fingers. Not like bone was exposed or anything. Nothing that bad. But just like a few layers were hanging off. And so it was just bright red underneath.
Oh my gosh.
And I was in the hospital or burn unit for 5 weeks over Christmas and New Year's. They tried to save him with many surgeries and stuff like that, but there was no blood flow. The veins were destroyed. The joints were destroyed. The bone was charred. So they had to amputate him. But after that, I had to go to a therapist, and I was a terrible patient because it was at the behest of my lawyers at the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, so are you having nightmares or anything about the accident? I'm like, no, not really. And they're like, oh, fuck. I wasn't giving them anything.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. I bounced back from it really, really easily. But yeah, it was an interesting experience doing that therapy there. But I didn't really, it was mostly just focusing on hand stuff. We never really delved into anything else.
You're like, you know what? I actually want to use this therapy session to talk about my dad.
Exactly. Could we just
Yeah, that would have been funnier.
Funds.
That would have been funnier. You're like, you know what? This is free therapy. I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about my hand.
Yeah, nothing court related. Let's just get into.
I mean, you could have talked about it in this way, where you're like, yeah, if this losing my hand reminds me of my dad because my dad shoots guns, dude.
Something.
Now I'm not gonna be able to bond with him. I would have. I don't know, just been more opportunistic. But so you didn't have any issues dealing with losing your hand, or
I mean, there was some
parts of you didn't lose completely.
No, it's I have a nub there that still works. I hit a brick wall eventually, but it wasn't as bad as
a metaphorical brick wall, not a real one.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
like they were basically telling me, and some other friends that was helping me through it, they're like, dude, you're acting way too fine about this, and just believe me, you're going to hit a brick wall, and that's normal and it's fine, but it's going to happen. And it happened, and it happened when I came home from the hospital, and I was getting off the drugs and stuff like that, and it was just one of those things.
They had you on drugs? Oh, pain medication.
Yeah, pain medication.
Okay. I thought they had you like on something else.
Oh, Dilaudid, like synthetic heroin.
Ooh, I know what that is.
That's some good stuff. That's like, you remember in Get Out when the guy goes into the sunken place?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
No. It
was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It was good.
So you went in a submarine before the submarine tank.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And,
yeah. So you didn't experience. Okay, so what was this brick wall when you eventually?
It was the realization that maybe my life isn't going to be okay, and I'm like, just I want my life back, kind of thing. Nothing's going to be the same again. Just like all the typical stuff, and I think it's completely normal that just these. I think that most people go through, like, will I find love and stuff like that. And,
so this happened before you got married. This accident happened before you got married.
Yeah,
and you thought you weren't gonna be able to hook up with the chick.
No, and you know what's funny? I did hook up with a chick like a handful of months later after the hospital, like maybe 3 or 4, and my hand is still like wrapped up and stuff. Yeah. And it was a girl from high school, and oh man, there some friends from high school, if they knew, they would kill me. But oh man, yeah, it was, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like she was great, but like I was still on pain medication
Yeah.
and stuff wasn't working.
Oh.
And it was, and also I got like emotional. Like I cried. Not, I can't remember if I cried during or whatever. Maybe after. I don't remember, but I cried. Because I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But I didn't like, I wasn't sobbing or anything. Like I don't know if she knew I was crying, but it was like little like mild tears and stuff, and just like I can't believe this. And it was pathetic. It was really sad. I'm trying to figure out how to put that in the act. But,
and what I mean, like you said, she was in high school, or was it someone you met in high school that? After?
Oh, we went to high school together, and we
okay,
were both
I thought you dated in high school. No, and I was like, holy shit.
No, don't cancel.
Yeah, okay, no, we're not.
We were both adults.
They were both adults. They just went to high school together before, and then afterwards.
I'm just saying, the friends from high school.
Okay, all right.
If they knew that. Yeah. They would be upset because she was a very nice, sweet girl.
Did you screw her up or what? I don't.
No, it's just like I feel like it was one of those. I think she was on the no-go. Like you don't cross that line because she's a very, very nice person. And,
okay.
You know, and I don't know. It was just one of those things that seemed like hands-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
okay.
She's married now, has kids.
Oh,
so,
wow. Well, congratulations. Yeah, to the married people with kids. But God. I mean, was that the only brick wall you encountered? Was the fact that, you were still taking the pain medication and, you couldn't get I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't get aroused, but I mean, it wouldn't stay up, right?
Yeah, it came back.
Okay, yeah.
Shortly thereafter that, but it was just, weaning off the drugs. But it was more of I just want my life back. I just remember going through that. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like I felt like I like nothing was going to be the same again. But eventually I realized as I like grew and adapted and whatnot, I realized, okay, well, I can still do things that I was doing before. It's slightly different, but not much has changed.
Right.
So I was very, very fortunate, and I can still like grab shit. Like I don't need prosthetics or anything.
Yeah.
I have them, but I've adapted too well with my nub that
I'm sorry
that it's worked out.
Yeah.
And I drive. I can, like, you've seen me hold the mic with it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
So,
yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a good grip.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. I mean, you got a good grip on life too. I think I feel like you're like one of the most solid people that I've had,
Emotionally?
interview. Yeah, emotionally. So wow. I don't know what it is, but I remember when I first met you, and then when we did the roast battle and you were talking about your wife.
Yeah.
And I was going through something. I was like, yeah, nobody wants to date me. You were like, you know what? Eventually you'll find somebody. It's just,
I remember saying that.
Yeah, it hasn't happened, but
it's one of those. I think what I said was, and granted, I don't know if this works for everybody, but it worked for me because I basically just made a declaration like, I'm going to just stop dating. I give up on dating, and not give up, but I'm going to stop dating and just focus on me. Mm-hmm. And like, as soon as I said that, then like, shortly thereafter, I met my wife. And I think most people were all on the apps. We're all, struggling for that and trying to find that person. And I think that's the problem is when we do that, we get tunnel vision and we're not paying attention to what matters. And we need to kind of open up our scope a little bit and just focus on us. And then eventually that person's going to
pop up,
show up and come into focus there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It might be a little tougher for me because I'm nearsighted. So,
but
I don't know. I've given up altogether. I've just said fuck it.
I don't think you don't necessarily have to give up like altogether, like it's never going to happen, but just be like, I'm going to just stop looking. And if it happens, then it happens.
I mean, I deleted. I don't even know why we got into dating apps, but I deleted my dating apps. Ooh, shit! Like 2 years ago. That's good. I wasn't even on them for very long. I was on them for maybe a few months. And then I met a couple of like winners, Sure. But it's just.
Do you ever meet anybody like, I don't know, like at a bar or somewhere out and about?
No. See, that's the thing. You know what? I work out a lot too. And I thought that like working out and like focusing on that would like nothing.
No.
No.
You never go to a bar or anything. You never see a guy that's like, oh, he's good looking.
I mean, if I'm meeting somebody at a bar, I'm assuming they drink.
Maybe I go to bars and I don't really drink.
I know, but we're different because we're comedians. We're supposed to be there.
And you need someone sober.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't.
not a bar, but like whatever. If it's a coffee shop or whatever.
Yeah. No.
Or if you're at a store, you never have those. One thing that I think is interesting though is sometimes we're presented these opportunities and we don't realize it. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like if you ever see someone at a store or whatever that seems like your type, sometimes I feel like that's an opportunity that's like being given to you and you just need to kind of take that first step. Granted, I don't know if you're like, I don't want to make the first step. He best be making the first step or whatever. But like sometimes one thing. Sorry, quick segue. Yeah. One thing I like to do. I love to make my wife a little bit jealous because she's the most unjealous person ever.
Yeah.
And so anytime like there's a cute girl, I always just like try to make extra eye contact with them. And just be like, hey,
oh dang, you're messed up, bro.
And it's because I want to feel something.
Okay, all right,
I don't feel anything.
You're like, you know what? I want to feel special.
And because most guys we don't get compliments ever, and I very rarely.
Is that something that I should do? Like give a compliment to a guy, and he'd be like,
but
down for that?
And a lot of times, just give compliments that don't ask for anything in return.
Not about physical appearance.
Yeah, well, physical appearance is fine. Like one thing I do, even though I'm married, I can still compliment a girl and say, "Hey, just wanted to let you know you're very beautiful." And
you got me right there. When you were even pretending, I was like, "Holy shit!"
And
are you?
Be like, "I hope you have a good day."
Yeah.
And it's like, especially what seals the deal, I think, is me walking away and the girl feels like I just made her day.
Yeah.
And me walking away is like, nothing's going to come of this, so don't worry, but we both win. I get something out of it because I just made someone happy and then you feel good. You know what I mean?
I mean, even you giving that example made me feel good.
Yeah,
I was like, you have it nailed down.
Why,
like the eye contact,
why not,
everything.
why not?
Yeah,
I feel like it costs nothing. And, you just change someone's life. And who knows, maybe someone that you compliment could be interested.
Yeah, that's true. I have sometimes I have a lot of social anxiety though.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I have that too.
Yeah.
And it's but as comics, we have to
have to break through, but it's like, it's like on a different level. It's like on steroids.
100%. And this is why I don't like parties very well.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at parties. Terrible. But as comics, one thing that is always like an icebreaker with other comics after their set, what do? We're like, oh, great set.
Oh, we fist bump.
We compliment them.
Yeah.
So that's the icebreaker, meeting other people. You don't have to be like, hey, how's it going? My name's blah, blah, blah. You don't do any of that. Just be like, hey, just want to let you know, here's a compliment.
Yeah.
And
I like how you're giving me tips
on
how to talk to people. Yeah.
It's just, I think that's an easier thing. It's less pressure. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't like introducing myself ever. I hate introducing myself, saying, hi, my name is, what's yours? I just saying those fucking words, I'm like sweating. You know what I mean? Like I don't like it. And I need to work on that and be more confident because confident people fucking do that. Like, hey, how's it going? Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's better to break that ice by just complimenting them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I always thought that maybe it was a me problem because I don't approach people. Like I usually just stare.
Yeah. Oh, same. Yeah, but in the thing here's the downside with that because I do the same thing. Yeah. They think we're creepy when we do that.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
I'm down for it. I mean, yeah, I embrace it though. Like I don't give a shit.
Because like, okay, let's say you're a girl at a bar or something, right? I'm a guy across the way. I think you're cute, and I'm like staring at you across the way for a long period of time. I'm like, oh yeah, this is me flirting, and then you know what I mean? And I'm like, wait, it's been a long time, and she's probably thinking I'm creepy.
Yeah.
By staring.
I mean, I think it might be a little bit different for a guy. You know what I mean? It might be because I don't know how guys would say if a girl's like checking them out, like you know what I mean? Like if she's staring.
I've had that where girls look at me and I'm like, oh shit, this girl's checking me out. Oh. What do? I'm gonna fucking I fuck the shit out of her too. And then like what do we nothing comes of it. It's always weird, so if you give them a compliment of some sort, It's great.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you would compliment a guy like, hey, nice fucking biceps or something. I don't know. Well, you know, a girl the other day, I was going through
nice biceps. Hey, that's a start. I like that.
This girl at Taco Bell, she complimented my eyes. And I think that's something that guys might be into.
You have beautiful, gorgeous eyes like
yeah.
that? Like
yeah,
that?
It was, like, this was one of the times where I'm like, oh, cute girl. Let's make my wife jealous. And I'm like, extra fucking, I'm catching my light, finding it, like, all right, there it is. You know, and
so you can seem angelic? You seem more angelic?
Yeah. Like, so we can light up the blues, light them up. And I'm like, oh yeah. And then as soon as she locked onto it, it wasn't like the autopilot. She locked onto it and she's like, wow, you have really beautiful eyes. And I'm like, thank you. You're very attractive too.
Yeah.
Return that serve and I'm bouncing.
I like
it's
how you just,
awesome.
You dial in on that character. You just fucking dial in.
I mean,
if you guys could see what I'm seeing from this angle,
and I'm
right
not
here, very angelic.
I'm very the opposite of like, I'm not a.
You're not a charming person.
I think I'm charming, I guess, but I'm not like a ladies' man type or whatever. I'm not the type of person to like.
Oh, you're not like pimps, like.
No, I'm not the type to pick up women and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
I get that.
But you know, I'm definitely the friend zone type. That's the fucking guy. I'm gonna compliment the shit out of you, and to the point that you never fuck me.
No, you know what? Okay, so this is what I feel about guys who are normally like that. Like you can tell it's a routine that they do.
Sure.
For you, it seemed genuine. Like
it's you.
The most genuine compliments. Those are the ones that I take in. You know what I mean? So even if you weren't genuine right there, it felt like you were. You know what I mean? And
I never feel genuine when I try to do the routine.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's phony.
When I see that guys give those compliments all the time, I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. He's probably doing this to like 12 other chicks, dude. You know what I mean? And I already know it's already registering in my head. I'm like, nah, don't pass this guy up. He's not worth it. And that, you know, and it's usually all the same kind of dude, you know? And then I guess that's why I'm single.
Yeah, well, you know what? Another thing I do is because I don't like silences and I'm very uncomfortable, like if you're in an elevator or something, you just make a joke with that guy or whatever. You know, just do some kind of stupid joke and maybe they'll be like good. Or something. Maybe they'll return it the favor. I don't know. I
feel like my nervousness, if I was in an elevator, I'd be like, boy, I hope I don't fart in this place.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, never mind. I can see why you're saying you're like, I got IBS. No.
Some people would be like, wow, that honesty is really refreshing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, wait till you get a smell. It's going to be super more refreshing, you know?
Oh my God. You know, my wife, she will never fart around me.
What?
Ever.
Even now? How long have you been married?
Oh, this year's going to be 10 years.
Holy shit.
The only time I ever hear her fart is when she's asleep and it sort of just escapes. It doesn't like, she doesn't fart. It just like deflates. Right. But
she has those, she's got those Kegels locked down then, huh?
Yeah, it's impressive. But I always know when she poops too.
Holy shit! Okay.
And she
no
makes
pun intended.
There's no stink. She's on top of it. But every time like she exits and she just does it so gracefully, I'm like, you just pooped, didn't you?
Oh
She's
my
like,
God.
Doesn't want to say anything. But to reverse that, I am mortified. I do not want my wife hearing me poop.
Oh wow.
Ever. And then I found out the other day, she's like, yeah, I've heard you poop. And I wanted to kill myself. I've never wanted to kill myself more. And I'm like, oh my God, how long have you been hearing it? She's like, all the fucking time. I will play music or whatever because it is aggressive.
She puts the TV up. You're like, why is it loud?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I heard you shitting in the other room.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right. Speaking of shitting, we've neared towards the end of this episode.
That's great. That's a great way to end this fucking podcast. Oh man, talk about shitting the bed. Holy shit.
We've shit the bed already and multiple times. We're neared towards the end of this. We are definitely.
Woo, we did it. Yeah. Best episode yet.
Best episode. Thank you, Jon Kondelik. Remember, I don't know how you remember his last name. I don't.
Kondelik my balls.
There you go. And remember, John, it's gonna be okay. right?
100%.
Everything, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. The best advice I ever got was you can still live.
Yeah. Especially after this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. That concludes it. Thank you very much for listening. You guys have a wonderful day, night, evening.
Hell yeah, dude.